All right, and we are live. So good evening. So we're going to be discussing chapter 8, 9, and 10. And I had some new questions um, that I share with you guys from the last meeting. Well, after the last meeting. So what do you guys think about those questions that I posted, the new ones, before we get into it?
I like them.
Yeah, I
I
think they
did
were good.
too. I did too. I was like, okay, I think this will be better. My phone has been going crazy with loan signing notifications all day. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So, number one, what parts of the chapters stood out for you? Are there any quotes, passages, or scenes you found particularly compelling? Um, were there parts of the book you thought were incredibly unique, out of place, thought provoking, or disturbing?
Um, I liked the idea. I think about this is page 109 for the practice tip about putting a sample seal in the journal. So that way if
Yeah, me
even
too.
though they spelled example, oh, I guess it is right, exemplar. I didn't read it all. I guess I read that fast. But anyway, I thought that was a good idea. I'm gonna do that as soon as I get home, because I still haven't done
I
that.
agree. Yep,
Yeah.
I agree 100%. Now, for the upcoming year, I'm going to be using an electronic journal. So I was trying to figure out, well, how would I place that, or to save that? Because I mean, I have a digital copy of my seal, so I guess I probably don't need to add it to my electronic journal because it's already, digital, right? So I guess I probably don't need to do that. But I thought this was a good idea. I was like, I never even thought about that. Like, put it like in the cover, I guess, of the journal, or maybe on the page where you put your notary name and commission information, maybe.
Could be
I
on
thought
the
that was a good
page.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a good idea as well.
I have a question.
Yeah, yeah.
I got your post today in our messenger, and I wanted to know, did these chapters that we read, did it inspire you to be creative with the thumbprint?
Yes, it did. It did.
Okay.
Because by me using an electronic journal, um, I was going to just take a picture of the person, in present day. I didn't want to take a picture of their driver's license like some of the electronic journals have you do. I wanted to take a picture of them because, over time, people's appearance changes. It doesn't change that much, but, when you do your driver's license, they don't make you take a new picture all the time. So your picture on there could be 20 years old, So I was like, maybe I can tell people, I'm using an electronic journal and is it okay if I take a picture of you? Well, what if somebody doesn't want, their picture taken? Um, I have a lot of people who are okay with doing a thumbprint. They're like, okay, because they're used to doing it. So I was like, well, I could not find any electronics that can attach to my iPad or phone to capture a thumbprint. And so after I read this about the biometrics and things like that, I started Googling and trying to figure out, well, is an image of your thumbprint um just as good as how they do it the digital scanner, or affixing it just to a paper? And it said, yeah. And then it was going more into actually people are able to, like, when you take a picture and people do this, like they were saying, you shouldn't do that because someone can zoom in on your finger and actually use your fingerprint. And I was like, oh, that's scary. I was like, well, that's scary, but
That's true.
yeah, I didn't know that though. So I,
And the same
so
thing
I,
is too about keys. They say not to do that about keys because they do the same thing, and now they make the copy from the 3D printers, and just from the
mm,
photo, like the fingerprints, the same thing. It's crazy how these people can
mm,
think of these bad things.
technology is amazing, right? It is. So I was like, okay. So what I did was, oh, I think it's in my notary bag. Well, I created a template where it had it's a square and it has on the side right thumbprint. And so what I would do is I would have a person use that slip, put their thumbprint on it, and I would take a picture, and that picture would automatically attach to the journal entry. It won't save on my phone. It will only save in the journal entry. And that actual photo would be good enough if for some reason I needed to present that entry in court for them to verify, okay, this wasn't the person who signed that document. So who was it? They checked that thumbprint out, it was this person, but they presented this ID to you, so I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll offer two options. I'll offer the option of I either take your picture or collect a thumbprint, and if they decline both, then I can just, think maybe it's something fishy with the transaction because I have to collect your information. So why would you decline? So definitely reading this definitely intrigued me to think more about how I'm going to be able to use my electronic journal and still be able to deter fraud. So yes, Sabrina, absolutely, it did. It was something else. It was in regard to were there any quotes passed? Oh, yes, it was. In chapter, was it 9? Let me see, because I highlighted it. Does anybody use both an embosser and ink stamp seal when they do notarizations?
Here in Montana, we can't use the embosser. We
Not
can only do
anymore
the
at
stamp.
all?
Since I looked it up, and in October of 2017, I believe it was, they banned them. They were not allowed to use them at all.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let's see. It was about the ID, the serial numbers on the ID. That's what it was. Um, I agree. I think that it was really unique how he said that you should only record the type of ID in the state and then what type of identification document as opposed to put in the serial number, because what if for some reason something happens to your journal? Somebody gets a hold of it, you know, they can get a lot of information from that person's driver's license ID number. And so I was like, so I went ahead and was looking to see, like, are we able to just do that? Are we able to he said like the last four, I think he said, you know, of the ID. And I was looking and I saw where Florida tried to do that. And I don't think that it went into effect. I think that they kept it at we're recording the whole. Man, oh, here we go. I was gonna say I highlighted it and can't find it. It's so many darn pages. Okay. The notary should not record the serial number for the ID because of the risk to signer privacy if there were a breach of security of the notary's records. Now, it's only one state I'm familiar with that you are not allowed to put the serial ID number, and that's Texas.
We're
Are there
not
any
allowed.
other states
We can't. We
where
only have to put the type of ID, the state it's from, and either the issue date or the expiration. We're not allowed to put any more information.
that's good? That's good. I think it should be that way. I hate having to write all those numbers anyway when I'm doing the journal. All right. Are we done with question 1, guys?
Yeah. And there's a Carlissa trying to get on. She says she can't find the password. So I let her know how to do it. So we'll see if she comes on.
Oh, okay. All right. So number 2, did you end up rereading any passages?
I really didn't.
For me, I did because I ended up doing some extra research. I did some extra research on the thumbprints. I did some extra research on the serial ID numbers. And it was Oh, it was saying on here that it will be a good idea to use the embosser on loose certificates, like on the last page of the document and then on the certificate itself.
Mhm.
And so I was like, oh, that's a good idea. You know, I
See,
thought
I
that was a
looked
good
up
idea.
those two things about the embosser and the thumbprints because I don't do the thumbprints, and I don't remember hearing anything, and I had to go back and read in our
Mhm.
state guidelines, and they don't. It's not required, but if you want to do a thumbprint, you can. And then I was
Right,
curious
right.
about the embosser, and that's when I found out that it was prohibited.
Okay. Okay, good. Okay. Let's see.
May I ask you about the embosser and just making a legible copy with it? If someone wants to make a copy after you notarize it and you use the embosser stamp.
Can't. The embosser won't show up if you try to do a
Right.
copy of it at all.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they started us using the ink stampers. But that also will show you if a person does make a copy, you will know this is not an original because you can feel the embosser raised stamp on it. So that'll automatically throw up a flag anyway. Let's see.
Password to come in on some into the group?
It No, it
I
shouldn't
didn't
be. I
think
mean,
so
let me see.
either. Sorry, I'm
Let's see.
answering these two because Valerie McCall
Should
and
be able
Clarissa
to.
looking for a password, but I told them I didn't need a password.
Yeah, all you should be able to do is just click on the link.
Right, that's what
Let
I
me
told them. I don't know what's going on there.
Doesn't the
hold
link
on, let
have
me see.
a password?
Um it does have meeting. Let me see if I can find it. Um Session notes. No, not there. It is on here. Let me go to participants and see. No. Hmm. No, princess. Goodness gracious. Get off me. Okay, let me see.
No, I know I
Oh,
didn't need a
it says
password or nothing.
dial-in.
So
Says dial-in numbers. Um, Now it just gives me an access code and a PIN number if you dial in.
we'll see if they got
Mm,
on. I told them they shouldn't need it. So we'll see.
yeah, they shouldn't. If they go right through the link, it should just let them in.
Right.
Let me see. Let me go on here and look. Mm, okay, it says a meeting ID and password here. I'm gonna copy it in the chat. See if you can give this to them and see if that'll work. Okay, I just put it in the chat here. It's under our questions. Meeting ID and password.
Okay. I'll let them know and see.
Okay.
Oh, there's the password.
He's asking them that because the meeting has already started. I don't know. Never had that happen before. Let's see, end up doing extra research. I did. And what else did I look up? Oh, one thing that was interesting to me is how, and somebody had to tell me this because someone was asking about the stamp and having a border. And I was under the impression, only, because I'm in the state of Florida, that we didn't need a border. But it comes to find out, I found out that in some states, they have specific design details that your notary stamp has to be. And so some of them do want a border. Some of them do want the commission number, some don't. So I was just like, oh, so these are new that was new for me to find that out.
One
That
of
every
those
state is
states.
not the same. You
We're
are?
one of
How
those.
does your stamp? How's your stamp have to be?
It has to have a certain, and I can't give you the specifications, but it has it in the handbook, and you're supposed to share it with the place that you are getting your stamp from. But it has to have the border and say certain things on the stamp, and it
Okay.
has specifications that it needs to be.
I even seen one where it can't be a straight line border; it has to be a serrated border. And I'm just
Really,
like,
ours
what?
is a straight.
Yeah.
Ours is a straight rectangle, and they say to share it. They have places that they're specific as to where you get your stamps from. And they
Mhm.
say, if you go to these places, share this with them, but they are state specific as to where you can go get them.
Yeah.
So they're
Wow.
Yeah,
particular.
California is like that. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. And then also too, I was reading, and I like reading the practice tips that he have in here in the different cases that he has because it gives you real world experience, especially for those notaries who have not done any notarizations. He was saying there is no prohibition against a notary using two seals, both the ink seal and the embosser seal, in performing a notarization. And he was saying too, some people have more than one stamp. I am one of them. I have two stamps. I have a traditional size and then I have the mini stamp. And it's because I've come across some documents where my traditional stamp is too big. It won't fit. And so I end up using my mini stamp more times than not because of the room restriction, in the document for me to put my seal near my name. Does
That's a good
anyone else
idea.
have more than one?
I don't.
My friend does, and thanks for reminding me of that because now I'm going to order one mini one too. Because you're the second one to tell me that this week.
Yeah, yeah. Donna, what were you gonna say?
I only have the one. I don't have the two, but it makes sense, a mini, because when we're doing auto titles and stuff like that, they only give you this like
Yes,
this much space, and you're trying to fit
yes,
it in, and it's like,
exactly.
seriously? And they don't
Yes,
want you to cover anything up, so give me the space.
exactly. And God forbid you make a mistake, you have no more space. It's like, oh well,
Exactly. Well,
gotta get a new document.
I have two
Okay,
from the NNA where they give you
okay.
the traditional and I guess and the small one too.
That's where I have mine from too. I have the
The
traditional and the
Florida?
mini one. Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Yep, I have both. And
I
I
have
end up using the mini one more than I use the traditional anyway.
mhm. I have both, and then I have the traditional, I have the mini, and then I have says my name, and then it says Notary Public.
Okay. You
So you can
fancy.
put that in there.
Uh-huh. All right, let's see. Also, it was saying on here how some people, now you know how for your loose certificates, you can pre-type some information on there, but you don't want to sign it, obviously, right? Well, it was, I saw that it made mention of that, how sometimes if a person's notary certificate has been, taken by someone who means to do some type of fraudulent transaction with it, and you already got your name signed on there, it's like free game, right?
mhm.
So definitely not a good idea to do that. I was going to, for the new year, I was going to go through my loose certificates and add my name as well, but not my signature, of course. I was like, oh wow, they have pre-signed certificates. Oh, and another thing, it was another thing that surprised me. Um, r- Reading about you being able to find actual official notary seals in flea markets and yard sales.
Oh, yeah, that's
Did you
right. Yeah.
guys read? I was like, what?
Who does that?
Exactly. I'm like, what? Thrift stores and everything. And I'm like, now I learned from the get to destroy my stamp. Once it expires, destroy it. Don't just throw it away. And I'm like, that's crazy. You can just find somebody's notary stamp in a thrift store or yard sale, something like that. I was like, wow.
That was a surprise. And I started reading it and I thought, oh, maybe I shouldn't have this. My dad was a notary. When he passed away, my sister found his notary stamp, his embosser.
Mm,
So she gave it to
mm.
me. So I have his sitting here and I thought, maybe I shouldn't have that. Maybe I should get rid of it. But
Maybe destroy it first, like for the pre-inked ones, you can take the letters off. You can like
this
take the
is
letters
an
off,
old
take them off.
fashioned embosser. This is an old embosser. So I hate to get rid of it, but I thought, boy, if it gets in somebody's hands, so I
Yeah.
thought, uh-oh.
How do you destroy that though? Because it's metal. What is his?
It's
Is it
metal.
metal,
I
clay?
don't know. I don't know how a part of it comes apart, but it's
Yeah.
supposed to. So I don't know how you would destroy something like that. It is a thick metal. It's a hard metal because it's an older one. So I don't
Right.
know. I'll have to think on that one.
Because I have an embosser too, and you could take it apart. But I'm wondering what material is that in there? Is it just all metal, or because if it's a hard clay, you could just kind of just crack it, But that's a
This
very
one's a
good question.
good solid metal. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, oh yeah, I definitely highlighted that. I was like, oh my goodness, are you serious? Yeah.
It
Okay.
was a surprise, but not really a surprise. People sell anything. So
I just didn't think that notaries would just toss the seal in the garbage. I was told you send it to the Secretary of State, right? Or you destroy it. That's what I
well,
thought.
from what I understood reading it, you destroy it, but you also take a picture of it and you notify the state. Notify the
Okay.
state, have a picture that you destroyed it. I don't know if it's
Mhm.
for backup or in case they want it. I don't know, but that's what I understood in the reading and stuff like that.
Yeah, when I read it, it says to make a journal entry saying that you destroyed it and how you destroyed it.
Yeah, and then take a picture of it so they have all that backup.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. I was like, "Oh, okay. So I know what to do when mine expires." All right. So that's number 3. Oh, we didn't do A, B, and C. Do you have a new perspective as a result of reading these chapters?
Yeah, I think in some
Yes.
areas I do.
Yeah. I do. I think it makes
Me
it keeps on
definitely.
hitting home to me, especially being like a new, how serious and important of a job this is, of responsibility, the
Mhm.
levels when it compares it to like as important as what was the officer, what page that was that on? But it just like I keep on like getting like realizations more and more like wow, this is pretty serious, because it could
Yeah.
affect somebody's life in a good way and in a bad way, not just
Mhm.
theirs but yours as well.
It's
Yeah,
true. That's
you're
true.
right. Right. And I hear so many times about no, because in every state they have things that you don't have to do, then you have things that you must do. And, and I know for Florida, we don't have to have a journal, So some notaries don't. Or some notaries they put what they want in the journal and they omit some things like, oh, I don't feel like doing this. And it's like, well, isn't that a part of your job to make sure that you keep proper records of the transactions that you're performing? So how can you not feel like I hear notaries all the time, especially when they're doing loan signings. Yeah, I just stopped recording that when in loan signings. I'll just collect their information and have them sign, but I'm not writing all those documents. Well, why? Because if they have to come back to you and ask you, did you notarize this document? Especially if you're doing loan signings, you're going to be seeing a bunch of people. You're not going to remember who you notarized for. You're just not, and let alone the document. So how can you not want to write down everything that I apply my CO to is going in that journal? Everything. So yeah.
And this author does drill that in as far as your journaling. I
Mhm.
noticed a lot of it's about journal this, put it
Yes.
in your journal. It's journal,
Yes.
journal. He drills it in.
and it's giving me new perspective on the different things that I need to make sure are in my journal. Because I was reading one of those case illustrations where it said the person lost a document, and I forget which one it was. It's so many in here. If a person loses a document you notarize, and the court wants to, subpoena your journal entry to validate it was done, and then they'll accept the notarization, and you have no record of it, and it was never done. Never done, case closed. So really important, really important. So I definitely have a new perspective on journaling for sure. And with me deciding to use an electronic journal, it's just making me critique more of on the system I'm going to be using, because come January, I'm not using my paper journal anymore. So I want to make sure that I'm able to um, have all the right information in each entry. Did you learn something you didn't know before? Yeah, I did. I learned about the stamp in the journal, putting your notary stamp in the journal, something I
Yeah,
would have never thought to do.
yeah.
Right,
Would have
right.
never thought to do that.
That's
Yeah.
true.
hmm And then, let me see. Has your attitude or behavior changed? Well, I think that probably goes along with A, right? Absolutely. Absolutely. Moving forward, I'm definitely going to be doing some things different.
It's making changes, yeah.
hmm hmm Did you agree with the author's point of view on these chapters? And definitely for his tips and notes sections.
Yes,
Well,
I
I think
like
I did
them.
on a lot of it. I love the
Me
tips and the
too.
notes and the
Yes, I agree.
Too. Me too.
A lot of
It
stuff.
made me rethink the serial number part. So it's like, so because I'm in Florida, and so since it's not required that we have a journal anyway, should I continue to still collect full serial ID numbers on their driver's license, or should I just put that I saw the Florida driver's license or the US passport and it expired on this date? Maybe that will be a good idea to omit that serial ID number.
Mhm.
You know, I'm already collecting a thumbprint, and I'm already collecting, or, I'm either going to collect a thumbprint or a a present day photo of the person. So that's something to think about. I do agree with him on that, though, 100%.
So are you making your own journal then, or since are you going to be making
Yeah.
your own?
Yes, I'm
Nice,
making my own. Yeah.
nice.
Um, it's just a form. With my subscription that I have a Zoho subscription, and it has a Forms app. And the way that I'm creating the form is that it has a timestamp, it has a location stamp, so it'll always record date and time and location. Even though I'm manually putting it in, it's still going to have that information on each entry. The entries can only be deleted; they cannot be edited. For tamper safety. Um, Each entry will be numbered. It's going to have its own unique ID. I have that in there. And I have a part, space in there for me to record my fee, travel fee, and notary fee, because that's important. They want to make sure you're not charging more than you're supposed to. Um, and then it has all the other information, and then a notes section for me to make any notes if I feel necessary. So I think it's going to be really good, but I'm constantly critiquing it because I want to make sure that once January 1st comes along that I can go full blown with it.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Very nice.
I'm super excited about it. Super excited. All right, guys. So that is the end of the questions. Was there
Yep.
anything in addition that you guys wanted to discuss regarding the chapters that we read? Let me see. I'm gonna look at all the things I highlighted, make sure I spoke about it. Hmm, right, we talked about that. I made sure to do all my highlighting this time. Talked about that. See, that was chapter 8.
I never thought about the fact of asking for more than one ID. if in question.
Yeah.
Yes, I haven't run
Yeah.
into that, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, asking for more than one or questioning them about certain things on the ID or
Mm-hmm.
cross-examine them, I mean.
Mm-hmm. I had to do that before. I had a signer. They were signing paperwork for a deceased relative, and on the paperwork it had Junior, and on his ID for some reason his name was so long Junior was cut off, and so he had to show me other documents, and I was able to verify that he was actually the junior, not the senior, which is like super important, because those prefixes, is it a prefix or suffix? No, it's a suffix. Suffixes are really
Suffix,
important
yeah.
because you don't want the junior signing for the senior, you don't want the senior signing for the junior.
Right.
Yeah, so that was the only time I had to. And obviously, when I do loan signings, if I'm doing the U.S. Patriot Act form, it asks for more than one. But other than that, those are the only times I've had to do it. Let's
Good
see.
to go over that again, because especially when you could be rushing, people are rushing you, and you can it's easy to miss something small like that, a small detail like that, but it's just so big in the bigger picture,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They do
Absolutely.
rush you. They do rush you. I've run into that a
They
few times.
do.
Let's get it done. Let's get it, it's like, hold on.
Yep, they do. Let's see. Positively identify document signer, at least exercise reasonable care. And that's what we were just talking about, where some notaries, oh yeah, I don't feel like putting all of that, but you need to exercise reasonable care performing your duties as a notary. Like we're not just we are in a serious position. Like we're a public official, and we have to make sure that we are taking that very serious. Especially when identifying people in the documents that we're notarizing, you don't want to just omit. That's important information. That's the whole purpose of the records. If you're notarizing a document, it should be in your journal. There should be no omission of that. You don't have to put every document that you signed in the journal, but the ones that you perform the actual notarization for, yeah, you need to do that. Because those are the documents that they're paying attention to, the ones that was notarized.
I think
Important
they gave a
serial number.
scenario. I forget what chapter it's in, but it was the scenario where I think it was seven notarizations, and the person only did
All that.
6. So
It
they
was
were
a bank
fined
official,
100,000.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I saw that. I saw
Yeah.
that.
Page
Mhm.
113.
Mm-hmm.
And that person ended up missing out on money or something like that too, because of that
It was
notary's omission, right?
1,000. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that. It's right here on 113. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, wow. And then it says the most important thing is proofreading. We think you have to proofread the certificate before and after you do it. You're proofreading it before so you can make sure what notarization are you performing? What is it asking of you? And then after, you want to make sure that you did everything that it asked you to do. So proofread, proofread, proofread. I think that was it. I think that's everything I highlighted. That's what I was looking for. I was looking to make sure that I talked to you guys about everything I highlighted, just in case you guys had a difference of opinion or something. But yeah. I think it was good. So moving forward, we're gonna do 11 through 13 next week.
Okay.
And my hair won't be looking like this next week.
Your hair
Whew.
looks good.
It's cute.
I'm not enjoying it. It's gonna be totally different. So I can't wait. All right, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and end on that note. So we'll meet Wednesday, 7:30 next week. We're gonna be discussing chapters 11 through 13.
All right. Sounds good.
Sounds
Night,
great.
everybody.
All right.
Have a
All
great
right, guys. See you next
Bye.
week.
weekend.
Bye.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.